Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Casual Racing League and to our finale round tonight. We're headed to Dakota. You can see it on the screen. It's going to be a brilliant run out there tonight. We're not joined by usual company here in the commentary box tonight. However, we've had a last-minute special guest. We've got Harry Burrows here. Welcome to the box, mate. How are you doing? Are you looking forward to tonight?
I'm good. I love this track for Formula One. It's a nightmare to drive. It's horrible to drive, but that's what makes it so much more impressive to watch. It's got a lot of fantastic sections, some great straights, some great corners. It's almost like they built together out of scratch, out of Lego pieces, their old favorite F1 track based on their old past parts. But you know what? It's led to some thrilling moments, and among these drivers in this game, it can get even closer racing, I think.
Yeah, you really can get some top quality racing out of here. The big areas you also want to be looking for is where you've got the DRS detection zones. You've got the 20 corners of the circuit. Turn 1 being that mad dash up the hill and sort of playing a little bit of havoc with your mechanical grip. But that first sector you have to perfectly nail if you want to set up an overtake down the back straight. Exiting out of turn 11, that's where you want to be. A quick look at the standings as well just before we go trackside. Pel 11 is going to be the driver to beat tonight. 145 points on the docket, 2 wins, fastest lap, second place, and a quality wrap sheet in their back pocket in their favour. Zero has managed to close a little bit of a gap, 121 points, and then you have Shinobi, Magic Blood, Dominici, Golden Kronk, who is unfortunately not joining us tonight. He's actually doing a 24-hour race elsewhere, so we wish him nothing but the best of luck. He's doing 24 hours of the Nürburgring with Simhaven, and as our resident owner, we do wish him nothing but the best of luck. Then you have D-Mag, Acor, and Icarus. And then you can see the bottom end of the grid as we are shaping up. We're not going to spend too much time here, though, on the standings. We'll have a chance for a little bit of a recap later on. What matters now is we are going trackside, and we are going to be joining none other than Shinobi as they're going to be starting the lap.
This is a very, very hard track to keep it on the track for. As we head up this long first straight, there's going to be lots of incidents race time coming into this first corner as you go right up the hill and into that super tight left-hander. Down the hill, you go into the replica of the classic Silverstone corners. This one catches a lot of people out. Track limits are an absolute nightmare on the best days, but F1 cars can take it with ease as it tightens up. Running side by side there is as hard as ever. That first sector is going to be the biggest flashpoint in this track before we get into the big DRS straight on the second sector, though, which is super long, so lots of chances to pass.
DR through turn 11 now, and looking to open up the taps, heading down the back straight, because DRS is going to be open. This is where we see the drivers getting close to and sometimes exceeding that 200-mile-an-hour mark before jumping heavy on the brakes into turn 12. Got the speed trap coming through as well, but nice and cleanly done here for Shinobi. Curiously, they're running the mediums. Maybe they're just using a different compound of tyre to get some running in there, to get a little bit of familiarity with the circuit before they go out on the full core softs and make a proper attempt. Looking fairly clean. Not necessarily leveraging the full track width, but a very good third sector. Able to lean on the power. 7th gear now before they quickly stab on the brakes, setting themselves up for the final left. And then as we come through here, little bit of an awkward line. Didn't quite get to straighten up, but it's a 34-0. It's our first time on the board. Acor is going to be a 32.5, however. They have gone full send. They've committed early. A 32.5 from the Alpine is going to be dashed by a 32.3 from Zero, and curiously enough, they're on the medium tyre, so this shows there is plenty of pace left in the tank for the Haas driver.
And this is definitely going to be a very soft favouring pace sort of track once the best times get out there, but we saw the 34, thought that was good enough. Still a lot on the table on just those, as we are following El Dominici right now in the Red Bull. Performance in this league, of course, but running around on those soft tyres, going to be looking for another fast lap out there. Silent Rogue, G35, going to want to improve on that starting time with the 140, but it's easy to make mistakes here, and there's a lot of time to make that up. There's a bit of a lock-up coming out that DRS straight.
Yeah, a little bit of a wobble coming there from Dominici. as we are making our way through the third sector now. You have to be very careful when you pick your point of turn-in, particularly on some of these corners. You've got the multiple apexes that you have to consider, so you have to pick the right time where you want to throw your car to the inside, because a early apex on one corner might put you out of position for the next. Looking nice and clean though for the Red Bull as we come through turn 20. Final dash to line, a 37.9, so not quite on the pace of some of the others, but it's a banker lap. It's something in their pocket, and they know now at worst that they will be down maybe to P8, but it's a little bit of a psychological game, isn't it? You have a lap in the back pocket, even if it is a few seconds adrift of the field. You know you've got something there. It's a bit of a safety net.
Yeah, and sometimes in these open qualifying sessions where you have quite a bit of time to just keep running around, your times will improve and improve and improve as the session goes on, and then you'll hit that peak and you'll have to over push yourself in order to get any further. Still running wide there, Silent Rogue on the RB. Don't blame anyone for running wide on every single corner of this track. I think the DRS straight's about the only I can manage very well. So much challenge around here. It's very easy to lock the brakes. Lots of very, very tight braking zones coming out of super fast sections. There's just so much that can go wrong, and it's what makes getting around here such an achievement in itself, and it's what makes getting a nice pole lap so impressive.
Well, you look at even Sector 1, and the fact of the matter is you have to perfectly place your car, perfectly place your timings of when to switch steering direction and really ride those apexes and those curbs with a nice edge level of grip. That is just one of the sections that these drivers have to put their A game into if they want a proper lap. We're on board with Maggi right now, who is on their out lap and is just setting themselves up. You can see trying to pump a little bit of heat into those soft tyres so that they're at the optimum operating window. We're going to see maybe the rear left, if anything, is going to get most of the brunt of it. And this is part of the setup equation, because you've also got things like tyre pressures, suspension geometry, aero profiles, that all these drivers are going to have to think about, tinker with, and make sure that those tyres in particular, they stay in that operating window, but anything above 120C, and you're going to start to lose some grip and really drop the rears.
And it makes me wonder if we're going to see some overheating on this track, because we are deep in the sunset of Austin, Texas, one of the hottest states in the US. Very, very hard to keep it cool around here, let alone get them up to 10th, but D-Maggie 12. They're going to start their lap no matter what, running into traffic, though, straight away. And that's a little bit of front wing damage running into the back of Magic Blood, who went wide on that first turn all that time and set up, and they're going to have to go straight back into the pits and repair that one. And I don't even think this lap's going to be any good for the McLaren either.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of an insult. You're going to have to put yourself in the shoes of Maggi there. He's done all that setup, like you say, and now he's going to come up to the line and he gets that brutal reminder that he's not the only one on track, and he has, in fact, lost some serious time here in order to get back out on track quickly. He's going to have to race back to the pits and get himself a fresh front wing stat. But Magic Blood seems to be okay. Looks like it was just a minor tap on his rear quarter. Doesn't look like any lasting damage, at least not visually. And the racers are going to have their final 10 minutes to set a time. Half the field yet to do so. Maggi, of course, going to have to go back in for another shot. But then we have McCarry, who joined a little bit late, so is going to make a quick set of presence on the scene, as they are now going to be starting from their outlap.
Little bit loose there coming out into the final few corners, and a real loss there into the last corner. That's going to kill the front straight momentum. Still good enough to start up this lap. We'll see if there's any major offs as well, but that could be a bit of a confidence breaker. Clean break through the first turn though. Difficult section on the way. And looking back at that incident earlier, I've done quite a few of these open qualifying sessions where you get a long period of time and people are running irregular rhythms. It's kind of unlike a real F1 qualifying session where everybody sort of tries to make the same in and out times. And it really does add a different dynamic to the timing of your session when you're just trying to manage the gaps around you as well as manage your best time, because your absolute best line could be ruined by traffic. People are setting up very slowly around this track in order to warm up those tires, in order to mentally prepare themselves for the run ahead. We've already seen a few incidents here and there, but getting that timing game is just as hard as getting your lap right. As Carrier, they pull into, not quite within being held up by the car ahead. Decent corners been taken so far. We saw the lock-up up ahead. They didn't quite replicate that performance. They are running that medium tyre, as well as the fastest lap comes in from Alcohol on the Alpine, a 1:32.2. Pretty small gap to the next car behind. That could easily be made up and beaten over the course of this session, I'm feeling.
Oh, but with Zero, who actually overtook the Mercedes behind him, and it is going to be a 0.298, but that's not enough for him to get an improvement in position. McHarry, meanwhile, with a 36 flat, maybe being a little bit disrupted by the Haas and a little bit of on-track traffic. Maggi is back out again now, this time with a fresh front wing and a fresh set of confidence to boot. And that is really the main thing. I'm looking at some of these drivers here, watching them on some of their laps. We're seeing Magic Blood missing a good chunk of their front wing. So this is likely going to be an abandon from them. Not sure quite what happened, but the drivers need to be confident in their cars. They need to be trusting, especially through sectors 1 and 3, where you've got so many tight corners. You need to be balanced with the throttle. You need to know that that car is going to do what you tell it to.
And now we're starting to run out of time, really. A lap's 1:30, your setup and your finish lap are 3 minutes long in total. Just over 3 minutes, really. That's going to now really start to put the pressure down on these drivers. When you include getting out the pitch, when you include the delay in setting up tyres, each driver's only really going to get 1 or 2 more attempts at best to make it through this.
Yeah, time is running short. It's going to be maybe 2 attempts, I'd say. And then, of course, everyone who is on a lap when the checkered flag falls will have a chance to finish their runs. Otherwise, it is game over. So the pressure is on, particularly for the bottom 3. For Magic Blood, Pel 11, Magi 12. They're all on that time pressure now because they haven't got anything on the board. Even a 1:36 would scale them above half of the grid that currently stands with a time. So this is going to be crunch for them, and they are going to have some major pressure on their shoulders. Jumping a bit forward, we have Shinobi. They're on a good run here, it looks like. At least the sectors do seem to be on good pace. They're now on the soft tyres. We last saw them out on the medium, so this is a bit of a higher commitment run than we have seen from them previously. Let's see what they come to. End of sector 2. Is the timing looking good for them? It's going to be significantly down, so maybe this is more of a fuel burn lap. But we don't really see that strategy anymore.
Especially with the time on the clock and just overcooking it a little bit on the banking on these corners. I know I talk a lot about corners that get you here, but that's another one that's gotten me as many times as the others. It's so easy to lose the rear, that banking and that curb really catching you, put on too much power coming out, and you get spun. Alcohol in that Alpine, now setting that 1:32.2 fastest lap. The gap is still tiny. Zero could make this up. Shinobi of another lap could make this up. We have Magic Blood and 11 here, running new times on the softs as traffic gets out of the way. This is looking mighty impressive in terms of pace, but a little bit of slippage entering this tight third sector. It's very easy for the car to get loose under you here. You've got to put the power on around these lightly banked corners. That uphill unsettles the car. Very wide, though, on the track limits. I'm not sure if that one will count. Looks like it will. We'll see as they cross the line where this is going to land. As it has looked fast. You can tell when a lap looks fast, even when you can't quite see the comparison. Round the corner, still wide again, just about keeping all 4 within. And it is D-Magi in with the P3 lap. After a few dramas, a few struggles early on, that's a good time on the board.
Yep, and it was worth the wait, clearly, as they have got that pace on tap. They did have a couple of extends that might have put them in out of the 33s and into the 32s, but they have, regardless, made this one work. It's still deemed legal by the stewards and the game settings, so it is a fair game. And we just leave 2 cars left. Pel 11 gone back into the pit, curiously enough, so he's going to be putting it all on the line. This is going to be a one attempt wonder. If he jumps up to the top of the board, being our championship incumbent, this is going to be a lap to remember. Magic Blood, though, for now, keeping us entertained, looking fairly solid through the first sector. And you can see right there, you keep a consistent line. You don't jerk the car left or right, otherwise the rear end gets a bit too skittish. That's when mistakes happen.
And that was a fastest Sector 1 of the entire grid so far. Magic Blood could pull out a surprise pole from behind here, entering this long DRS straight. Only a couple tricky corners around here, but it's all make or break in that final section. We've seen cars can run a little wide here and get away with it, but still it's easy to lose the rear out from underneath you. Braking hard now into this left-hander. To call this a stadium section, I'm not sure what they call it. You don't get many corner names in modern F1. Losing the rear a little bit still, very slippy. Trickiest corner on the track, in my opinion, to get right. Just about nails the exit. This is looking like a seriously fast lap, especially with that strong first sector on the books. Only a couple more pivotal corners to go. This one's a bit on the easier side. Throw it in, but make sure you have momentum set up for that final tight left-hander. I'm hoping to be impressed by this one. Magic Blood crossing the line, but he must have lost some time somewhere because he has dropped 2 seconds after that first sector.
Well, he dropped to the rear a couple of times. There was a little bit of skating from that rear axle. Not to mention the fact that if you look at how they drive on the course, they don't necessarily use the whole track width. They'd rather be clean than be too far out, which is commendable. But that is going a little bit too far here, and you saw in some of the runs out there that they weren't pushing the full track extent, the full track width. We've got Zero coming up to the line, however. This is going to be a one to push Acor into action, as it's a 31.543. That's a challenge and a statement to the rest of the field. He's saying that I can push this harder than the rest of you so far. What are you all going to do about it? How are they going to respond? McCarry has just come across the line with a 134.6. That's going to displace Magic Blood down to P6 here. And then we've got Silent Rogue now coming up to the line.
And, I mean, that lap wasn't just a little bit better. He's finally crossed over into the whole next number threshold. Silent Rogue, 7 seconds down. Just getting one on the board's going to put them ahead of a few. Alcohol's next lap really could be the make or break here, but that was a massive, massive gap made up by Zero. Absolute statement of intent in the final lappers. Everyone here is on their last attempts. They can have Shinobi. Little bit unsteady, goes faster, but doesn't really improve their position. Locking in with that 133.2. Magic Blood going into the pits. That's them locked in as Alcohol crosses fast into the 31s, but just 2 tenths short of making up to Zero. That'll be P2 unless someone else improves.
Yeah, well, Pale 11 not setting a time. The checkered flag has officially fallen. That leaves everyone out on track as the last ones to get a potential run. Magic 12 not being on a valid run, so checkered flag's fallen for him as well. Magic Blood in the pits alongside Dominici too. Harry has already gone for a run, so this is very much a cooldown for them. Zero back into the pits after a job well done, I have to say. I was expecting Pal to go for a last-minute surge, but to see them with no time at the back of the field is a little bit concerning, unless they are going for that on purpose.
I don't know many people that would go for the last to first challenge on purpose, but if you're a fast driver, it will make for a thrilling race nonetheless. Very hard to chain up a proper lap around here. Lots has already gone wrong for a few. Traffic has been all over the place, and those track limits could have easily bitten. Alcohol did just about make time for another lap, but it doesn't look like it's going to be to pace. 2 seconds slow right now. Really used up those tyres on that first attempt. That's going to be confidently into P2.
Well, we have, of course, got him now passing the line, the final run. And with him heading into the pits, that is going to leave the grid in an interesting place. Zero takes the top honors, takes the top spot. And Magi12 in third. Shinobi with a solid run is into fourth. And then McCarry is going to be fifth place with some solid runs overall. And then it's Magic Blood, Rogue, Dominici, and Pell 11 who are going to be forming the second half of the grid. I am personally quite surprised that our current championship leader has not set a lap at all. What do you think their play is here? What do you think's their game?
Well, I don't know what was going through their head at the time. Maybe we'll find out later. But now I think all needs to be focused on the battle ahead. Lots of chances to pass here. Some very, very long straights. Some very, very difficult sections to get right. You're going to have to make up every position you can in these conditions if you want to have any chance of taking home that championship. As the only one not setting a time on that board is a struggle. Big spread in times on this grid, but it's not going to matter too much on the race because everybody gets set very close on that grid and we get to wreck them up for a fantastic race.
You see the time differences out on screen. Zero, a solid lap with Akahor making a good challenge run, but it's only going to be enough to bring him within quarter of a second. And you can see the formation out front. Of course, while we wait for the drivers to get fully ready, we can take a look at the amazing calendar we have had thus far. We have 8 rounds over this season, and we've had some highlights and some lowlights. We've had, of course, Mexico, Silverstone, Suzuka, and then you look to the rest of the fields. I gotta say, if there is one track that I'm sort of sad that we didn't get to see in the commentary box, it was Spa, because by the sounds of it, it was a brilliant race, and it was a one to remember. But with that all being said, enough sort of crying over spilt milk. How are you looking forward to today's racing?
Well, this track really does produce some magical moments in Formula One. It was built just for this sport from the ground up, and sometimes tracks that have done that have not quite worked, but this one provides a lot of space for drivers. It's seemingly been designed with everybody's favorite parts of classic tracks. It's become a modern classic very quickly for a good reason. I think these cars run brilliantly here, and it invites a lot of mistakes, which are just great to see. It provides drama on the track and invites a lot of side-by-side racing. It's super hard. I don't know. I don't fancy being there today on such a competitive race. It's a fantastic circuit, and as we get the drivers on the grid right now, we're going to get a great one ahead.
Going to be a great one to watch here, and we're already away. A brilliant stop, but the track is hot for the final time here in Casual Racing League, and Ekahor is going to be going for that immediate challenge, pushing it to the inside on those mediums. The rest of the grid is also on the mediums, with the exception of a couple. We've already got drama at the back of the field, though. We can see Magic Blood has done a full 360. They have got themselves out around, and they have got themselves down to the bottom of the field. Pell 11 has had some major contact. That's Dominici. They're having to recover themselves onto the field. And the VSC, not even half a lap in, the VSC has already been deployed.
That first corner invites so many moves that just never quite happen. That blind uphill, it's so much tighter than it looks. It's got a lot of space, but the best line is so tight on the inside that I think someone coming together was almost inevitable. Zero dropping back 2 positions from the start was very, very interesting though as well. They're going to get another chance for this pack being neutralized for now. We don't quite know where this VSC is going to spit them back out, which is always adds a little bit of jeopardy to a pack like this, as we can see the missing front wings down the back of the grid. You see so many incidents there in real life. You see them in the virtual world as well. That first corner, tricky as ever, one of the hardest in F1.
Well, Pels today has gone from bad to worse. He's gone from a bottom start all the way to having an entirely missing front wing, and it looks like contact was made as Shinobi has lost an end plate, collided with, I believe that was Rogue. So what is going on under this VSC? This first lap is nothing short of absolute pandemonium here in the early stages, and we wouldn't be amiss if we saw some drivers already jumping into the pit. There's Shinobi, there's Pell, there's Magic Blood likely going to be following. No, Magic Blood has stayed out despite having multiple elements of their bodywork missing.
As we return back to racing conditions here, and DMagi going very, very wide on turn one is going to invite Zero in to try and make a challenge. Doesn't quite get alongside here through the S's. Next opportunity is really going to open up going into that DRS straight. Good recovery to not quite let Zero pass, but now Alcohol's just going to get away like this down the road. Very, very nice for this VSC to spit him out just for lap one. DRS, don't think it's quite enabled just yet, but still possibly some draft advantage being gotten from this top three as they remain super close. McCarry behind with a 1 second gap. It's really all to play for between this top three as 11's day goes from bad to worse. I don't think they'll be challenging for that championship unless there is a miracle today.
Well, they're going to have to bring their absolute A game to the track if they want anything to do with that top finish. I wouldn't be surprised if we look at the data on the tyres. They have, in fact, alongside Shinobi, has gone onto the hards. They've technically satisfied the 2 compound rules, so they'll be likely taking those to the very end of the race, and now they are going to have to make those stints work within those means. Looking up at the field as it currently stands, you have Dominici on the soft compounded tyre, a very risky choice around this course.
I love it though. It's a track that introduces a lot of lateral wear into these tyres, but you can go soft hard and make it work if your second stint is just slower on the mark, but you get so much by pushing the head out of these tyres around this very intense circuit. There's a little bit of contact there between Blood and Silent Rogue. Magic Blood stays out ahead, but turn one could be spicy indeed. Further down the road, Zero still chasing down DMagi, who goes horribly wide there into the S's. That's going to open up the opportunity. Zero's now going to go side by side as the car run goes. Still, though it could be tight, he's just about made the advantage out up ahead and spins it, loses it just before the DRS straight. And that's a full-on safety car. That's the miracle I was talking about for the pack. That's what those S's do. Both drivers make horrific mistakes. McCarry's had the time of their life there, just being pushed up into second place as Magi there. You can see this in the front wing. I'm wondering what they touched.
Yeah, they were going side by side throughout that S section. Of course, you had the wobble from Magi there, and they were trying to rejoin, but it did end up going catastrophically wrong. And that had some dire consequences for the both. The fact they were both span and they left their bodywork all over the active course meant that the safety car has been deployed and fully called. Now, this is a judgment call for Acor. They are going to be running slow in order to sort of preserve themselves, but do they go into the pits? What they do here controls the cadence of the race for everybody. And if there's one person I feel sorry for, it's Dominici right now, because they're going to be burning a good amount of the life of those soft tyres under the safety car. And the rest of the drivers, like the ones who have gone onto hards, have a bit of an easier time.
This can be nice on one page, because you're not using too much wear into it, you're not going too fast. But on the other hand, you're also losing this tyre's optimum window. The more time you push it on and on and on and on and on, you know, it has that window where it's amazing in those first few laps, and then you're just going to stop. And that's going, I mean, they're in the pit lane now. I think these drivers are just going to make those changes. Dominici heading out onto the mediums. Thinks they can bring this one up to the end. Alcohol has a fantastic run up ahead now with two of the drivers that were not quite as competitive on the first run just behind. They're going to stay out as Zero and Magi look like they keep their positions leaving the pit lane. Could see some passing to make it back onto this podium. Alcohol really controls the pace now though, and unless McCarry could easily pull out a fantastic start, every safety car restart is another chance to go. But those hard tyres are also going to last a little bit longer, but I think they've just gotten the miracle of their lives here for this race. And there's no major mistakes. This is a fantastic opportunity to clean up a win.
Now, you can see that at the front of the field, the big divide is very evident. McCarry even still pushing the envelope a little bit, teasing Acor as they go side by side and briefly overtake before dropping back to their intended position. Now, the rest of the field has got a bit of a chance to make some serious gains here. They have got fresher tyres. They will have some time to get them up to optimal temperature without the pressure of a race situation. So Acor might be, at least for now, at the head of the field, but there is still an opportunity for the rest of them to put some serious pressure down on the Alpine, because those mediums are going to wear before the others.
And also, I feel like incidents invite more incidents sometimes, bringing these cars back close together. Even some of the fastest drivers on the grid today have had massive safety car causing wrecks in those S's as they fight and tussle for position. Well, now they've been set further back. Will they make the same mistakes again? Or will they sort of give it time and let their run sort of come in? It's going to be very hard to chase down Akahara at this point, but they're going to want those top 3 positions. There's a lot of questions, a lot of variables on this grid.
Yeah, and because Shinobi was so far back to the rest of the grid, the safety car is going to be out for another lap. And we can see it has switched to now one more lap here on the safety car. I don't quite have control. I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like it has been switched as everyone has gone into immersive mode. I have lost control here in the commentary box. But here we are. We are back to the front of the grid. We are restarting the race here in full. The overtake on the safety car from Akahor there. You can just see up in the distance. Not really sure.
I think race control's having a wobbly right now. Those lights are still on, so we do plan on having another lap. This is FIA race control at its best, though, so, you know, let them work out what they need to do. I think we're going to get one more lap. We'll try and work out what's going on as soon as possible.
Well, there we go. The camera switch has remembered to wake up, and we are back with the safety car now. So we will be going back to race pace if all is set and done with race control with the safety car here. They will be going back onto full form by lap 7. But we will, of course, wait and see. The full grid is now reunited all together once again, with the exception of Akahor at the front. They overtook at the final corner, and now coming up, we can see Akahor has actually gone into second with Magic Blood ahead. So the grid has changed significantly. We have Magic Blood at the front, Macari down at the bottom, Helen 6th, Shinobi 5th. Not really sure
I'd love to ask questions. I'd love to ask questions of EA's race control AI, but unfortunately they cannot be reasoned with. What we have right now is what's going to be a fantastic restart, though. I think Magic Blood hasn't been on the pace all day, but now controls the grid. Zero and Dima G have slotted in behind, so we're going to see that top 3 battle explode again. I can't wait as we get the restart going underway.
You know, Akahor's going to be carefully watching what Magic Blood does here. Of course, this major shake-up in the field is going to leave plenty of questions on the table. Who can they trust? Where can they go? As the race is now fully back on, the safety car is in. Lap 7, we go green once more. Ignore the warning at the top. The game is just refusing to remove it, but we are back on green flag conditions. Zero going for a send. Magi 12 going for a bit more, and they're not quite being as successful as Magic Blood is immediately displaced down to P3. Akahor and Zero reunited at the front, but Pel 11 is going to be also back in the picture, just slightly adrift. Magic Blood struggling to hold the pace. Magi looking for opportunities left and right, even extending off of the course and into the grass, trying to get past the MCL. And both of the Ferraris eventually making their way round as the first lap after the safety car is already proving to be a frenetic and feisty one, especially for the Scuderia over here. P3 and P4, there's a chance for some teamwork here.
And, you know, 11's had one of the worst days so far, but the championship leader has positions to make up, and running down this straight into third, this is going to do wonders for this championship battle, as they pull off quite a big advantage already. Those top 2 already pulling away, though, and a lot of brake lockups on this early lap. The tyres are just a bit colder than they really need to be. I wonder how these 2 drivers are going to face it, because 11 does have that championship battle to look out for. There could be some team orders, but they are the only teammates that really made it to this grid as well. Akahor and Zero trying to have a battle down as Zero goes very wide there, but Akahor has made the best of this restart, made up the position they needed to, in control of the pack again with the fastest lap of the race.
Something I noticed, look at 11, look at his front wing. He's missing the right end plate. I don't know how that happened, or if he did have it before, and where the game took control. He wasn't able to pit back in for a new front wing, but you look at his car and the managing of the pace as a result of that. He's done exceptionally well to get past his teammate and continue to push in spite of those issues. Shinobi and Magic Blood, meanwhile, they've traded spots. Looks like Magic Blood wasn't able to hold that front spot for very long, as Shinobi now into P5 and on the medium has got some pace that they need to leverage with those yellow wall compounds. Then at the front, you've got Acor and Zero, who are trying to size each other up, ready for a potential move by the Haas for position. As we come down the back straight, the DRS is going to be open. Is there full push here from the Haas? Yes, there is. Straight to the inside. Can they confirm it through turn 12? Is there going to be a switchback? Any kind of retaliation from the Alpine? Looks like they're staying behind, at least for now.
It's interesting to mention the tyres because those safety cars have pretty much neutralised this entire strategy game this race. Those drivers on the hards are going to have that better long-run pace now, running their way to the end. No requirement for any of these drivers to take another tyre. So Acor's going to potentially have some faster pace for a while, but they're 7 laps in to a medium compound tyre. Zero's got the whole long run ahead of them on the hards. If they can just keep that distance ahead and bother and hold up Acor for as long as possible, it could be good, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Zero has set the fastest lap, but there is DRS on Acor going by into the start-finish. Has the inside line advantageous into this first corner. Clears them for now, as Zero can't quite make it side by side. Still more opportunities, though, to strike. There were incidents last time Zero tried chasing in this section for a battle this close. Cleanly done this time, but the DRS straight awaits as 11 falls back, holding up that pack, but it's firmly third position.
Well, we can see now that those two are going to continue to battle and fight it out throughout the course of this race. I think Zero, honestly, is playing the long game. He's sizing up his opponent, keeping him under pressure, making him use those mediums, but also making sure that they cannot get away and really get that gap that they wanted to get with the medium compound tyre. By having them on the ropes and having them under this kind of pressure throughout this session, we have a situation now where Acor can't use those mediums. Their strategy is effectively neutralized, and while they'll have to go in, if Zero plays his cards right and he manages his tyre degradation, he could stay on that to the end. He started on the medium, remember.
I think Zero does have this tyre advantage for sure. That hard's going to last a lot longer in the sweltering heat of Austin, Texas. Acor is going to struggle in this long run, and he's going to need to make some crazy moves, but he's going to duck into the pits now. Realizes he might not have even made that tyre change as necessary. He hasn't. He didn't take the opportunity under the safety car. He prioritized track position, and that's going to send him right to the back. 11's being given every miracle in the world now. The P2 on the road, even with a little bit of damage, there could still be a chase between these two, but Acor's really made a bit of a strategy error there, I think, throughout this, and that's going to cost them.
Well, we have a bit of an issue further down the field. Dominici's either lost the car or has reset to track at the final corner. So they have got a massive time deficit now to the rest of the field, even coming out behind Acor, who has just taken a pit stop. Gives you a bit of perspective as to how much time they lost. And with the front wing end plate missing, that might mean that their strategy has gone by the wayside. They're going to have to come into the pits fairly soon if they want to minimize the damage and do a bit of damage control on their race efforts. But Magi has got a chance to go for the podium, is going to go for it. Shinobi has managed to push themselves up the order a fair tad, but isn't going to do so without some significant challenge. The Ferrari now being P2 and P3, this is looking very good for the red outfit.
Yeah, and don't talk to me, the Tifosi, about anything but a good Ferrari finish. You know, we've seen some huge swings on the grid already. That's another big story there. Shinobi gets loose in the third sector, those tricky corners. Looks like they're going to get away a bit about any safety car, but giving up the position to Magic Blood now, who could chase down these Ferraris in the top 3. But yeah, we've seen cars go from first to last. We've seen cars now go from last to almost first. Any drama can instantly tighten up this field. This has been great racing.
Hell was coming into this with no qualifying time and the worst start he could have had from that position to boot. But now it looks like things are perking up. Same goes with Magic Blood. They had that early incident on lap 1. They were spun round. It looks like all hope was lost, missing half a front wing and missing the field by several seconds. Now currently holding their own in P4 and putting up quite a fight to the likes of Shinobi and McHarry a little bit further up the road. So this is where the drivers are now starting to switch over. Their strategies are converging. The racers are looking at the opportunities that they have on this board. And the game is only just beginning. Case in point, Shinobi, even before the corner, is looking for a shot.
I'm amazed there was no contact there, but there it is. That could have damaged the front wing end plate. We'll have to see when the angle comes. He's just about gone away with it, but such a tight little dive. They're going to make that push now into this long DRS straight. Gets it done. Still a chance to be attacked on the inside. It's not going to happen. In fact, Magic Blood has sort of opened up the gap to McHarry. Shinobi now looking to push away as fast as possible. From that spin, Shinobi showed they've still got it. They can still push. It doesn't matter. Those faster tyres should be able to make it to the end. If they can make the most of that advantage right now, then they can beat the fall off and possibly keep that top 4.
I'm not too sure regarding the mediums because they do tend to burn out. They have a great early life, and much more so than the softs. The softs would have been well and truly... Oh, gone! That's the rear end going. Speaking of letting go, Shinobi has dropped all that hard work and is now going to have to slot back in. Luckily, minimal damage and only just a few tenths of drift to McHarry, but still, they worked so hard, fought so hard for those positions, and now on those aging mediums, which are well and truly past their prime by this stage, they would have covered almost 50% race distance. They are going to start to see a bit more push needed to get around the hard runners, but it looks like the mechanical skill is going to be in their favor. That is a move through Sector 1. You just don't see that, and he's done it so cleanly too.
We've seen the fastest drivers here not quite make moves around their work, but I think they're going to keep pushing and keep attacking. I think they've got that raw pace in them are we just going to see a cycle here? This vicious cycle. We're going to see a push up to the front, a spin to the back, a push up to the front. Only 8 laps to go. I am curious about this tyre degradation, but Shinobi is definitely the fastest of these freeze drivers if they can be consistent. They don't have a good line here, leaving that DRS straight, but they make it perfect on the switchback. Back up in the P4 again. This is an absolute roller coaster.
Now this is the kind of racing we're here for. This is watching the drivers push and pull and fight for everything they've got as they come through the 3rd sector now. Magic Blood continuing to threaten to continue that push against Shinobi, trying to regain that spot, although they have made a mistake and ghosted out. Magi is going to be further up and completely a pipe dream to these three if they continue to fight and tussle with each other. Once again, Shinobi drops the rear. And Akahor has made his way onto the scene. He's going to be like a knife through butter, scything through the field, and in a matter of seconds has displaced Harry, Blood, Shinobi, and is now sat in P4 with some time to gain.
What a wild card. Is that Akahor from the top ropes? Coming in from the back? 10-second gap to the car in front, but with pace like that, I don't know what sort of chase we're going to see heading down into the end of this race. What a fantastic battle, just carving through those drivers. Those are the back markers that are really going to hold them up. Now you have clear air, you have the best tyre advantage of the whole field. If Akahor gets a top 3 here, it will be a story of the season. Fantastic.
And despite the strategy not going their way and having to pit in early on, they have managed to make a substantial comeback and are already dropping the time. You can see they've managed to make about a second to Magi 12 in the time that we've discussed this segment, but if that current rate is to be held, it still won't be enough because we have only 7 laps left. Meanwhile, we look to the front of the field. We can see Zero continuing to hold their own, continuing to push as much as they can. For 11, about a second and a half behind, but really extending the track where it's deemed legal by the stewards. Of course, we saw them push the limits in qualifying. They know that the limits are a bit looser than they otherwise would have expected in other areas, so they are taking advantage of it here with 11 now going within about half a second faster than he was just a couple of laps ago. This is going to mean for him that he's going to be closing in on Zero, potentially by lap 17 to 18 for a final showdown.
Oh, well, so many storylines, so much drama. Shinobi and Magic Blood stopping in the pit lane as Shinobi puts on the softs. And I think Magic Blood might be making the same move when they come out. No, are they going on the mediums? They're going back out on the mediums. Maybe Shinobi looking out for a fastest lap over here, or just to beat the pack as they've come up just within range of McHarry. That's range to attack for that P5. Acor's down the road. Forget about that one entirely already, a 20-second gap. But those softs could result in some vital positions. And, of course, Silent Road has been a bit out of this game so far, but has fresh tyres and is staring down the chase as Shinobi makes it past McHarry in the S's.
Watching on as McHarry and Shinobi fight, this is where Rogue can play it a little bit smart. Let the two fight, let the two tussle. Where he's got those younger hards, he can afford to let those two burn themselves out and then take it at the final steps. This is where a little bit of game theory and a little bit of strategy is going to pay dividends. Watch how Harry goes for the move here and doesn't quite get the run on Shinobi, because Shinobi has got those softs. He can break about 25-30 meters later if he's really pushing it, and those early game soft grip levels is what's going to be the big differentiator here. If he can get out within a second, he's going to be winning, even when those softs start to die off.
I don't want to tempt fate here, don't want to say anything too dangerous, but Acor's closed up 3 seconds on the pack ahead with 5 laps to go, I believe, for that lead car. So the pace is definitely there. There isn't much time to make it, but it's going to keep getting easier as these hard tyres are 5 laps younger just wear in and wear in on the cars up ahead. That top 3 looks like it's largely locked in unless there is some major drama. 11's out of DRS range of 0 in the lead. But, I mean, Acor's made another half second just while we're on board that P3. That's going to be jeopardy for the Ferraris.
Well, he's pumping 110% into these last few laps. And you can see, even with the little things like their battery management, they are constantly running low, constantly around the 10 to 20% range. Now, if you go below 10%, though, and this is the Achilles heel of the Alpine's current strategy, you lose engine power. You lose a little bit of horsepower and peak power because the car is being forced to regenerate that battery to run the ancillary systems within the car. So he has to be a little bit more careful with just how much he's pumping out, because staying out of that final 10% threshold is crucial if he wants to maintain peak speeds.
I think so much of this is going to go down to experience and knowledge of the track and just general natural pace and talent. The gap now going to approach 5.5 seconds very soon. There are seconds being taken out of this time every single lap. Last the podium challenge. Anything can happen here in the Casual F1 League.
Yeah, well, casual is anything but right now as we come through to the final 5 laps of running. 11 is the one to watch as they have officially broken within a second. 0 has made a crucial mistake through the first sector, and this is the chance that the Ferrari needs to make that dream a reality. A little bit of a cut on turn 11 there, but that is not going to be enough to deter them as they are going to be jumping on that DRS. They're going to be closing in very quickly. And are they going to go for a move on turn 12? They're going to be peeking to the outside. No moves and no such drama being had as we see a bit of a wobble from Dominici just a bit further up. This could impact our 2 front runners as there will be blue flags in place, but there will still be an on-track obstruction.
This really could be last to first at this rate. 11 seriously all over the rear of 0, who has really been dropping off the pace in the last few laps. Oh, this is going to be such a story to make this race happen, but I think the pace is entirely in 11's hands. We saw that great push down the DRS straight. Didn't amount to much, but there's at least 3 to 4 runs around this track to go. There's no way that this is going to not unfold into something dramatic. Nice turn 1, makes it cleanly, leading the race for now. Side by side coming out, that first corner leads straight into these S's, and that road is so wide that it really invites anything. Has the lead right now from last to first, but 0 is not going to make this easy. Still all over the gearbox, and the second DRS straight comes up.
Here we can see 11 well and truly using every inch of the track available. Anything that isn't a foul of the stewards is fair game. You've got to remember that. And 0 is trying their best to peek left, peek right, see what opportunities are afforded. And even within a wide extend from 11, it's still deemed legal. Now, 0 has got the DRS here, so he will have a chance for a retake. But this is where he needs to be careful in how he sets himself up. If they switch back every single lap, like they're doing here, that means that 11 is going to be ahead by the time we cross the line on lap 20. He has to be wary of that, and through turn 1, we might see a bit of an unexpected switchback from at least one of them. But there you go, side by side. 11 is going to retain the position, really going to go for it. Bit of a switchback coming in from 0, as is characteristic with their driving strategy, trying their best to close in on the Ferrari, to really keep them on their toes, make the use of the fact that they have got damage, and the Haas is looking completely fine here. But coming up to the final corner to start lap 18, and nobody is willing to yield an inch.
0, I mean, I was very impressed by the way 0 was able to get that position back after the DRS straight. Now, this is what DRS sort of does to these races, makes them trade back and forth, but 0 really is just the one when it comes to these corners. That contact didn't amount to too much, don't see too much damage, but now going to tuck behind 0. If they can be ahead for the long DRS straight, they could dominate the rest of the lap. Not too many to go now. 3 to go on this thrilling battle for the win.
Yeah, and as the rest of the field has mostly displaced itself evenly across the course, all eyes are on the front. Final couple of laps to go. 11 is going to go for the overtake before the corner, but because they hit the detection zone, they're going to have the position and they're going to have the DRS. We can see in full here, 0 has to rely on the slipstream, pumping a little bit in the battery to counter it. Is it going to be enough? Drag race down to turn 12. Who is going to yield? Someone's got to give. It's going to be 0 taking the very apex. But now, looking at the Ferrari 2, they are going to be making a massive surge towards the inside line. They're going to be switching back and forth. First it's 11, then it's 0. Look for apexes, trying to get on the throttle as quick as they can. They continue to trade back and forth. This is something else.
Side by side for the win with 2 to go for the championship finale. These two absolutely want this win. And even though I've seen 11 with this consistent advantage, anything can happen. I think 0 has been pacey, has been competitive, and this side-by-side 0 with the DRS advantage going to take this turn 1. This is going to be decided by the last lap. Nothing else good before it.
Looking for a chance, looking for a way in. 11 has got plenty of fight to give still as the race continues, very much losing time. 0 has flubbed a couple of the corners on sector 1, and this is going to give a chance for the Ferrari. There's going to be big contact, nearly going round, barely catching it and keeping it all together, as even on the penultimate lap, tensions and the fight is high. 11 though is going to have no choice but to yield back, at least take his time for the moment, and then he'll get a later surge, jumping on the throttle, but a bit too much as they come out, and that is going to neutralize a fair amount of the advantage that they pressed just moments ago.
The pressure is boiling over for these drivers. They're going to be neck and neck going into the final lap. Even with that mistake, he's going to try and make the dive. Not quite enough to make it happen this time around. I expect that. Who's going to have DRS going to start finish straight? I was about to say I expect him to have it, but he could make the move beforehand. Only 2 more DRS zones on this track. Only 1 more run after this one. Both drivers, I think this could get even more violent.
Yeah, there is going to be plenty of push, and push has already started to come to shove. We're going to see even more of that as we now enter the final lap of the race here. It's all to play for. Remember, the 2 championship protagonists, they are too close for it to not be decided here. So 11 may have the points, but for now, this is about pride. This is about them as individual drivers. This is one-on-one purebred racing. Nothing more, nothing less. Zero on the outside, going for the initial push and trying to take the claim heading into Sector 1. But that will leave them open to a DRS overtake through the back straight. 11 is going to try and keep proximity, but so far about half a second. Usually strong in this sector of the course, but not quite having it. In fact, going a little bit narrow and cutting across some of the grass as we come out of turn 10. Now in through the final lap here, final push. This is the only chance the Ferrari has got, and he's spun! He's dropped the rear, too much on the throttle, too overzealous, and that is all she wrote as in the dying moments of the race. The chance is gone. Zero is 2.5 seconds up the road. This is unrecoverable.
The elevation change, the curbs, the pressure, it all adds up in these cars on this track. It's so hard to keep it together for a single lap, and what could have been a chase for the win is going to be given up by a small mistake if Zero can keep this together. Fantastic composure against a seriously aggressive opponent. Only a few more corners to the checkered flag on this thrilling race. It's been up and down the grid. Got to give credit to 11 from getting from last all the way up to second and challenging for the win. But it's Zero that takes the checkered flag. A near dominant run despite all the drama. What a race!
They pushed. They gave it everything. And in the end, the Haas is the one to take the top honours. As more drivers now come through the field. That's going to be DMAG, aka Magi12. We've been calling with Acor just 2.5 seconds behind. So not enough to re-establish themselves on the podium. Yet still a quality race that they put on. And their A-game definitely on full display. Rest of the field now starting to make their way through. You've got Dominici, who finished on lap 19 of 20. So a bit further down the field, but then you've got McCarry. The last early stint on the medium, and then Silent Rogue is going to be closing in just behind, followed by Shinobi and Magic Blood. Still fighting to the bitter end here, still tussling for that early space. But there you go, last couple of cars, and a quality race that we have seen out on the course.
Shinobi did claim that fastest lap on the soft strategy. Might not have worked to gain positions on the road, but that nice fastest lap, the good old fastest lap gambit on the soft tyres, worked out very well for that last little bonus.
You see him coming up to the podium here. The two Ferraris playing wings to either side of the Haas driver. That's going to be Zero taking top honours here tonight, proving themselves why they have been one of the biggest challengers in the championship this season. But really, eyes on 11, 9th to 2nd, and with that have all but sealed their championship here tonight for CRL. You have Magi12, his teammate, playing wing as they have gone into the 2nd spot behind, so in the 3rd position, and a equal race. So started 3rd, finished 3rd, quality run from them. Acor having a bit of a strategy issue, but still recovering well to P4. And then McCarry, Rogue, Shinobi, Magic Blood, and El Dominici wrap the rest of the field. What a run, what a race, and a seriously impressive finale for the season. And these were the points as of round 9. So Pel 11, 145, Zero is 121. This means Pel is going to be our championship winner here at the inaugural season of CRL. We'll, of course, hopefully get a chance to talk to him properly. But, wow, where'd you even begin?
Anything but casual, that racing. My first time here, and that was unbelievable. Some incredible stories, some incredible fights, some incredible drama. 20 laps of this track can really produce some absolute classics. That was amazing.
That really was something else. And hopefully we'll get a chance to chat to our podium sitters and see what has gone down in their minds. Maybe they may have some different stories to tell, because the race went in many, many different directions throughout the course of those 20 laps. And I'm very eager to hear their stories. So we're going to see if anyone comes up to the interview waiting room. But, of course, we've had a brilliant season. We've had 8 great races, and I wanted to, first off, before we get a chance to talk to the field, wanted to, first off, thank the drivers as a whole. We've had some drivers rotate in and out of the first season. It has been a great thing to commentate over, and also to those who have had in the commentary box. So Howie, you've been brilliant to join us for this final race here, and also to the likes of Zabi and the others who have joined intermittently, been brilliant as well.
I appreciate it, and this race has been an absolute thrill to jump in on as someone that's never seen this championship. You know, sometimes a league with just a few friends getting together can still produce the most epic racing. It doesn't matter the stakes, and that was so much fun to be along for the ride for. So thanks for the chance.
Yeah, well, it was great to have you. Well, we'll see who joins the interview waiting room, and then we might have a chance to drag some of the drivers in just to have a little bit of a chat and see what their perspectives are. I think they're having a little bit of a cool down at the moment in their respective drivers' channel, as this tends to do. I'm sure that Pell and Zero are going to be exchanging some pleasantries as well, as they have had a brilliant race throughout here. We're going to see drivers start to join in here, and hopefully we can... Oh, looks like we still haven't got the permissions to be able to drag people from the interview waiting room up into the broadcast room proper. So we do ask all the drivers who are joining now to, of course, make sure that your microphones are muted, and we will call upon you individually, one-to-one, on a single basis. Get a chance to talk to everyone, but make sure that everyone else is muted so we don't have any interference. With that being said, I think we have our race winner here. First things first. So, Mr. Zero, can you please make yourself known?
Yep, hello.
Well, what a race. That's all I can really say. Brilliant racing out there, and quality running between yourself and Pell. Now, how was that race for you? What was your mind like going into this?
The race was shit, but the qualifying was good. I slided all the way through the second stint. It felt like I had puncture or something. And then at the end I just didn't push everything that I could to try give Quota some hope for the win.
Oh, he still brought some solid fighting regardless, even if the car really wasn't sort of behaving underneath you at one point. You still put on a solid fight, so would there be anything that you would have done differently in regards to that race, be that strategy or anything else?
I think I would have started on the hards, so I could just stay behind someone in DRS. Yeah, I would probably prefer to not crash with the DMAG as well.
Oh, can't argue with that. And I guess sort of final thought from me above all else is you've really brought your A game this season. You've been a solid challenger to the title, and you're a solid driver overall. So if a season 2 is to go forward, will we see you there?
Maybe. I don't really like the game anymore, but yeah, I guess I want to beat Quota so he doesn't have such an ego. Yeah.
Well, looking forward to it either way. So anything from you, Howie? Any questions from you at all?
I mean, there were too many stories to count, too many stories to remember. I think this was a race where really keeping your composure in the tightest moments got you out ahead, as that could have been a battle to the line, but just about won it on consistency. That's a good win.
Yeah, thanks.
And with that all being said, let's talk to the other fighter in the room and our championship winner here for the first season. Pell, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Well, first off, congratulations, because with the highest points tally and after that second place finish, you are our CRL Season 1 champion. So tell me, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Didn't like the safety car situation with some positions getting switched up at the start, but overall, yeah, I'm feeling great right now.
Yeah, what was going through your mind during that safety car period? Because we in the commentary box will be upfront with it. We were a little bit taken aback by what was going on, because we thought it was going to be a standard safety car period, and then we went basically just out of control. We lost control in the box. So if that was just us in the box, what was going through your mind as that was all happening?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the guy who was, I'm pretty sure, last went to P1 somehow, but I benefited from that a little. I went like one position up. Yeah, I feel bad for those who went down, and I don't know. They need to fix that for next race, for next season.
Yeah, of course. I'll imagine that being the inaugural season, there are a couple of hiccups that will inevitably be addressed ahead of season 2, should it go ahead. And I guess a sort of final question before I pass it over to my fellow commentator is, in regards to your whole season, just looking it over, just reviewing it in full, what would you say was your best round out of them all?
I think my best round would have been probably Singapore, even though me and Zero collided, but I think I had a really good pace there and brought home the win from last. And this round, I could have won, but I got damage in lap 1, so I had to box to hards, so I had older tires than Zero, and also during the safety car restart, I got front wing end plate damage. I lost my left, I'm pretty sure, no, right front wing end plate, so that lost me some pace.
Well, even when the circumstances were against you, you pulled out some solid driving there. And you fought to the bitter end. You and Zero, you were dueling lap on lap. And it was a great spectacle for us in the box to watch. So, brilliant stuff. Howie, anything from you?
Well, I say that safety car is it's EA's programming at its best. But other than that, lost the first challenge, basically. Loved watching every second of it. It was a good battle. Shame you lost it just a little bit at the end.
Yeah, shame I lost it, but yeah, good battle and GG Zero.
Great stuff. Well, thank you for having a chat to us, and of course, say rest well, knowing that you've won the inaugural season, and looking forward to seeing whatever you do next. DMAG is going to be our next driver in question. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, brilliant stuff out there. Really solid work. Of course, 3rd place out there. How was that race for you personally? Because there were plenty of ups and downs and a lot of twists and turns for everyone, but I think you had probably the most out of them all.
Yeah, that was one heck of a weekend, to be honest. When we started in quali, I was trying to find the perfect setup to get going and get a good lap in, and it went all down to the last lap, which was on I actually set that lap on used, but I was trying to go on a new set, but I didn't have time. I didn't get down at the end, so we got P3, and I'm happy with that result. As always, it's a second row start, so at least if I could see the person on pole, I'm happy with the result in quali.
Yeah, and you went equals, so you started on P3 and then you finished on P3 as well. You have Pal bringing up a solid point, which was the safety car restart, everything that went down with that. What was going through your mind as the game basically took control and then sort of spat you out in a different position?
Well, I felt like I got an advantage there because I was 5th at before the AI took control, and I ended up 4th after. The game is confusing sometimes. Like, EA have too much games to focus on because obviously they've got the FC game and whatever. So really, they shouldn't really have any control over the F1 game if they're going to end up having the amount of complaints they have had in the recent couple of games. For the safety car though was was a bit of a shock because then it ended up there was a under the safety car, like the AI put people into the pits, and usually that doesn't happen. At least I don't think, because usually it's never on broadcast. So it was confusing. That's just all I can say.
Yeah, it was certainly confusing us in the box. We were saying to Pell earlier that the game took control from us as well, and we were a little bit confused and then sort of came back to a reshuffled grid. But at least from that point onwards, things looked fairly solid for you, and you, of course, stayed in proximity to Pell for a good majority of the time. Was there much sort of communication between you two in terms of working together, or was it more of just a sort of internal decision, like, right, I'm going to stick close?
There was a lot of communication, to say the least. Most of the quali, he was telling me to push on my out lap, or no, on my in lap, sorry, because I wasn't going to make it, and obviously I didn't make it, so he had a point there, and I kept denying it. So that's something we will work on, hopefully, for season 2, if we are in the same team together. In the race was a bit stressful, because towards the end, when you saw Akahor gaining and gaining, I kept telling him, oh my god, am I going to lose this podium? But then at the end, Akahor managed to make a mistake. I don't know what lap. And then he dropped down to 7 seconds, which it was like 4 seconds before. So if he didn't make that mistake, really, I would have been in a position of P4. There was a lot of communication.
It's good to see the two teammates communicating amongst one another. And they're very impressed with both your results. You took 2 out of 3 spots on the podium, P2, P3 respectively. Good day for the team. Howie, any questions from you?
No real questions. I wanted to say I'm on the Deposi myself, even in the virtual world. So seeing those Ferrari surge was quite the thrill. That was a lot of fun. I'm sometimes as confused by F1's game decisions as everybody else, but you have to take the hand you are given, and your team made the best of that at the very least.
Yeah, thank you. Not much to say from me, to my point of view as well. Sorry.
Oh, say
Just no words.
Very, very good job on track. You left the talking to the racetrack, I think, in a lot of ways, and you proved as a solid contender. Well, if we have a season 2 going ahead, we're looking forward to seeing you in it, because you showed at least tonight that you're more than a capable competitor on this field.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you a lot.
And with that, we move on. Is Acor with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, you had a bit of an interesting race in the Alpine over there, didn't you? Because you had a very strong starting position, and then the strategy and the surrounding circumstances didn't really go your way. So tell us, how was that race from your perspective? Give us a bit of a play-by-play.
Yeah, I had a great start at the beginning. I obviously overtook Zero and could get a little bit pulled away from him. It's in the seconds, but 8 tenths. It was going great until I was with the safety car, and then the safety car. I'm still a bit bitter about the safety car, because I think I had a real chance at winning here at Kota, because my qualifying pace was not that bad, and my race pace was neither is or bad. But it just put me at P2. I couldn't get that good of a restart, and I also, when the safety car came out, I just couldn't react that fast to go on the pits, and I didn't know what to do. Just a lot of learning to do on my part about the strategist. But yeah, I was catching D-Mag at the second stint, because I was on a fresher tires, but I made a mistake on lap 17, I think, when I almost spun out at the first corner. It's a tricky corner, like the uphill. But I almost caught him at the end, but unfortunately I just couldn't get it too close to him.
Oh, so you did some very good damage control, if nothing else, because We were saying in the commentary box as the race went on, you were over 10 seconds behind, and then at one point you were significantly dropping time, half a second here, and really beelining it for that position. So you did very well on the damage control front, and it's clear that you've got the raw pace on tap. So you mentioned a little bit about where you were trying to develop, where you're trying to learn and improve. Would you say, or in fact, I'll throw it to you directly, is it, what would be your one key area that you would like to improve on, whether that's a Season 2 here or just the F1 game in general?
Well, in the Season 2 or just in general, there's a lot of strategy calls that I don't make right. I most of the times miss the strategy. Like, I have the pace most of the times, but sometimes I just can't react and don't know what to do when there's a strategy change or any like safety car. That is a like I don't know how to say this word because it's not my first language, but when there's a obstacle in the way, like a safety car, a virtual safety car, when you have to make quick decisions to go out into the pits or don't. So I definitely need to make that better on my side, like the strategies and the quick thinking. So that's what I would change for next season.
Well, we're looking forward to it for sure. Howie?
Well, it's a shame to hear that the safety car really messed up your strategy, because I think you were within a real shot of winning that race. That was an absolute thrill, and it was a real joy to see that battling happen up ahead. Good race.
Thank you very much.
With that, we move on to our P5 competitor. Is McCarry with us?
Hello, I am.
Well, welcome. How was that race for you, my friend?
It was pretty interesting, especially after Crowley getting held up by a particular Ferrari on my last lap. So I had to bail out. Started on the hards, went from there, and the safety car fucked me, really.
Yeah, I take it you were one of the ones that got mostly hit by that random position rejoin, because we saw some people get a little bit of a gain. We've had a couple of people already talk about how they got a couple positions improvement, but I think in your case you got dropped quite a bit down the order, didn't you?
Yeah, from P2 at the time, getting dropped to dead fucking last, which is a joke in a sense of being there due to people losing out positions generally on damage or just incidents and that. I was there just hanging around and chilling, and safety car comes out, broadcast fucked up, and you just didn't. It's no fucking fair on drivers.
Yeah, but it was a difficult situation to navigate. But to your credit, from that point onwards, you were a solid push all the way through the field. You managed to get halfway up the field by the end. So, how did that change? So, you see, you get dropped in dead last, say no fault of your own. How did that change your approach to the race, if at all?
Just for me, I was just head down push until the end, and strategy wise, absolutely went out the window. But pace was strong, car was perfect in every aspect of setup wise, and cars ahead battling. Like, unless you're Magic, then you're not fighting anyone.
Yeah, well, as I say, you certainly were able to use the situation and still turn it around in a good way, which is really impressive to see, because you were gaining some significant time. And say at points where the other drivers were fighting, you were able to make up at some stages seconds. So it was really impressive to watch you out on track and make the best of a bad situation. Anything from you, Howie, at all?
Yeah, a bit of a roller coaster triggered really by that safety car. Indeed, lots of ups and downs for the whole field. Good race though by you. We saw you do your best out there despite everything.
Thank you. I just want to say, Magic, stay behind me next time.
Well, I get a chance to talk to Magic as well in a minute. But for now, very well done. We will see you hopefully in season 2 and beyond.
Thank you, take care.
And now we have just a couple more drivers to go. I don't know if we have Rogue with us. I don't know if we have Silent Rogue in here, so we are going to move on. Shinobi, are you with us? Yep, that'll be you. Welcome, welcome.
What's good? What's good?
That was a solid.
How y'all feeling?
It was good. It was good to watch, and we're all feeling good over here. But how was your race? Talk us through your race here.
Man, that was trash, man. I got hit in the beginning, messed up my wing, so I'm like, all right, man, I can't even do anything. But then I was like, all right, let's try to push a little bit. Let's put on a little show, you know? That was all fun for me. I put on a little show. I was just clean racing. I knew I was faster than Magic, you feel me? I knew I was faster than him, so I'm like, I'm just gonna do this clean little thing right there. I know you guys saw that. You saw that? I know, I saw that. You feel me? Where I overtake 2 cars? Yeah.
Yeah, you had a bit of a curveball because you got hit by the safety car restart, and that's all messed everyone up. But say dodging, weaving, fighting through the pack, and it looks like you. Honestly, it just looked like you were having fun.
Yeah, I was having fun that game. Construction P3. Hey, who can go wrong with that? You know. So if I got a P3 or P4, I'm just having fun before I go on deployment. This is my last one. Hopefully, I get to do Singapore again because I'm going to defeat everybody in Singapore. That's my race. That's my track. Anybody that's coming at me, I'll come at you. Zero, I ain't never going to beat him. He too fast, boy. That boy too fast.
Oh, it certainly looks like I've got something to look forward to then. That's for sure. So Singapore comes around again. I know who I'm going to be watching.
Oh, God. You better be there. I want to race. When you racing, boy? I want to see you race up in there. When both y'all racing.
I'm a comms merchant. I'm a comms merchant. I'm no good on the game myself.
Nah.
Happy to watch from the sidelines, but
we can get you on the wheel. Anybody can get on the wheel. You know, if I can get on the wheel, you can get on the wheel. That goes for anybody out there. If I can get on the wheel, that means you can beat Silent and Magic. We can beat Magic. Everybody can beat Magic. I promise you, everybody can beat him. Anyways, thank you guys.
It was a solid race, and looking forward to seeing the future. Now, Howie.
Oh, anybody can be damaged too. I forgot. Anybody can beat him. Anybody can beat him too. You just gotta be good. All right. My bad. I'm gone.
Howie.
It's a joy to listen to you, quite frankly. Getting the fastest lap at the very end on the soft tires. Was that just a way of showing you still had pace in you?
Hell yeah, I was trying to show I had some pace. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the back. Let me just get this fastest lap real quick. You know, I got that purple sector and the qualifier. I was happy. I was stoked. But no, I kept on sliding all over the place. I'm like, what the, bro? What's going on? And then I looked at my tires. I'm like, oh, snap, boy. This thing at 50%, so I had to box again. You feel me? I had to box. My wing. So look, when I got hit in the first time, because Silent Road brake checked me, I don't know what he was doing. My wing was gone. So I was going to box early. You know, that would have been a perfect strategy. Perfect strategy. Box early, safety car came out. But no, I didn't hit yes for my wing, so I had to box again. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get on these used tires. I got to fix my wing. And it worked out perfectly. As long as Magic was behind me, then I was good, you know?
We should see you in the booth, quite frankly.
You say what?
We should see you in the commentary booth, quite frankly.
Anyways, nah. Anyways, it was good though, you know? The race was good. I had fun. Everybody had fun. It was no stressful events except for my wing being broken, you know? But I had fun. That's all that matters.
Amen to that. Great watching you out there, Shinobi. Great race. Great season. Looking forward to it.
Good having you, Todd. Season 2, I'll see you guys out there.
Look forward to it. And with that, looks like we've got, I believe, one more driver left to talk to. Magic, are you here with us?
Yes, I am here, and now I feel sad because of Shinobi. Thanks, man.
No, you still had a solid race. You were still putting in some work, and at one point you were leading the field.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When that happened, my brain immediately went, "That doesn't feel right." I'll let Zero and the person I was with him go past. But then my mind went, "Oh, I'm fine. The Ferraris, they've won the championship anyway, so yeah." So yeah, overall, bit of a iffy race on my half. So yeah, but once again, it was that turn one incident that caused that virtual safety car at the start that really did knock everything off, I think. So yeah, I think if that didn't happen, it might have been a different story.
I mean, would you say it was down to maybe pace today, or was it maybe more, like you said, with that lap one incident at turn one? Would you say maybe it's more of a part of confidence? Maybe it could be a bit of both. What from your perspective, what was the one thing that held you back today?
And you go into this race, Austin was definitely not a strong point, especially because I think a lot of people here today haven't been on the F1 game for a while, probably since like the last league race. So yeah, definitely on the back foot of that one. However, yeah, turn one. In my perspective, there was definitely conflict. From what I've heard, from what I have heard from the incident when Shinobi went into me, I know it wasn't Shinobi that caused the incident. I know it was someone ahead of him that went into Shinobi who went to me, and that's really what happened there. So whoever started that incident did kind of go over both me and Shinobi's races, but honestly, I think overall it was still a good race. But I think at the end of the race, me and Shinobi, I think both agreed, yeah, like, and it's the end of the season. We've got next season to look forward to whenever it starts, so we can carry on our little fight into that next season.
Oh, so with the whole season now technically under wraps, it's clear that we've had some drivers who have, say, of course, pushed a bit further in the point standings, but also plenty of drivers with some potential. And you said it yourself that Kota is not your strength, but we've also seen you on your A game and on your good day, and know that there is a solid racer to be seen on that course. So I guess moving forward into season 2, do you have any particular goals maybe to push yourself forward as a driver, or is it just to maybe just have a bit of fun and see where the road takes you?
I think it's to do a little bit of both, really. Like, as you said, there was definitely some tracks out there that I really clicked on. Because like in my time of doing racing, like even like off the multiplayer and stuff, tracks like Imola, but as seen in the last few races ago, that was a good race for me. And there can be some good races. There are some good tracks that I can do well at. There's tracks I can't do well at. Monaco. But there is a lot of tracks that I can do well, but I think the most important thing for next season is just get lucky. If there's more tracks that people are good at, then that happens. But if there's tracks I'm not good at, like a full stack of tracks I'm not good at, then I'm gonna push through and do what I can.
Yeah, well, I say, as long as you're enjoying yourself and as long as you're enjoying racing, that's really can't fault it much beyond that. But say, high tracks, low tracks, somewhere in the middle as well. There's a few. I mean, Monaco, yeah, that I can understand. That I can definitely understand. But 100%, it's been great
Monaco
to watch
next
you.
season, I see it.
Well, it's been great to watch you, whether it's a high point or a low point in terms of track choices. Seeing you out there on the course and sort of giving it your all week in, week out, it's always great to see. Howie, anything from you here?
More than thanks for bringing us a great season of racing, really. It's been a joy to watch all of you even once. I can't imagine how competitive it gets over a season.
Yeah, let's get quite competitive. I think once I realised in the championship about how close me and Shinobi got, I think it went from... I think actually it was originally... I think when Kronk was taking part in the season, my mind was originally like, go against Kronk. But when Kronk left the league, a man went immediately to the next person who was closest, which was Shinobi. So all that mindset of fighting, all that rivalship in my head went immediately to against Shinobi. So all of that definitely got interesting. But yeah, I think overall in the whole season, it definitely was interesting. There was a lot of collisions, a lot of times I said certain words to my pit crew. There was a lot of those times, but I think, overall season went well. I think season went well. I can't wait for season 2 when it happens.
We're very much looking forward to it here, and it's been brilliant to watch you as well as the rest of the paddock out there. So thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box, Magic Bud. And with that now is where we go into a sort of final words of the season. And now is where I have a look at the amazing paddock, the amazing drivers. Of course, these are the standings from round 9, but we have the 20 drivers who have joined us throughout the course of the league, giving it 110%, giving it their A game, and giving us amazing racing week in and week out. So to all of the drivers here, thank you, all of you. This is the ones who are also in the call with us right now. You've been brilliant out here tonight and throughout the entire season. So just wanted them to know that. And now we say farewell, at least for now. Whether season 2 is ahead or whether there is different paths on the horizon, we'll of course wait to see. But it's been amazing to commentate this season. It's been amazing to have Howie in the commentary box tonight as well, joining us for the final round. And from both of us at JPB, as well as everyone at CRL, thank you all for watching. Take care. See you soon. Goodbye for now.